It's late evening in Hobe Sound, Florida, a Friday night in late September. The sun has just dipped below the horizon. The air is warm and heavy, the way it gets in Florida when the day begins to fade. A car pulls up outside a modest house on a quiet residential street. The engine shuts off. For a moment, everything is still. A man steps out. He's military. You can tell by the way he moves. Every movement is precise, controlled. He's dressed in dark clothing, carrying a large military rucksack that looks heavy. He walks towards a house. He reaches the front door. He has a key. He knows this house. He's been here before. The door opens slowly, almost silently. He steps inside and gently closes it behind him. Inside, there's a woman. Her name is Trisha Todd. She's 33 years old, a registered nurse and a mother. She's also about to become someone's next victim. She doesn't expect what's about to happen. As far as she's concerned, this is someone she knows, someone she once trusted, someone she allowed into her home. But the man standing in front of her now isn't the person she thought he was. He's become something else. And what he's about to do will be almost impossible to comprehend. An argument begins. Words are exchanged. Voices grow louder. The tension builds until it fills the room. Then, silence. A single moment. The moment everything changes. The moment Trisha Todd loses her life. Over the next several hours, her body will be dismembered. A reciprocating saw will be used to cut through her limbs. A chainsaw will help tear her body apart. Her remains will be placed inside a plastic container, and acid will be poured over what is left. Her teeth will be removed. Her fingertips will be removed. Anything that could identify her will be deliberately destroyed. Then she was buried, 3 feet underground, in an isolated wildlife preserve. Her grave marked by nothing more than a single flag planted in the darkness. For 5 weeks, investigators searched. Thousands of man-hours. Divers combed through murky water. Search dogs pushed through thick brush. Heavy machinery carved paths through dense woodland. All of it in search of what remained of Trisha Todd. All of it searching for pieces.
Teeth, fingertips, power saws, and a plastic tub filled with acid.
But how did it come to this? How did a respected military man become capable of something so horrific? How did someone Trisha once trusted become a monster? This is the story of Trisha Todd and the man who killed her. Everyone who knew Trisha described her the same way. She had a vibrant personality. She was outgoing. She was the life of every party, the kind of person people naturally gravitated towards because of her warmth, her energy, and the way she made everyone around her feel welcome. Trisha grew up in Hobe Sound, Florida, the only girl among 8 children. She had 7 brothers. That meant she was fiercely loved, fiercely protected, but it also made her independent. You have to be when you're surrounded by that many brothers. Her family adored her. She was the kind of daughter every parent hopes for, the kind of sister everyone looked up to, the kind of friend people never forgot. When she joined the Air Force, she approached it the same way she approached everything else, with complete commitment. It was there that she met Stephen Williams. Stephen and Trisha had actually known each other since elementary school. They grew up in the same community, walked the same school hallways. Their families knew one another. Years later, they both joined the Air Force. They reconnected. They fell in love. And after a few years together, they got married. They spent 11 years as husband and wife. They had a daughter named Faith. From the outside, their life looked stable. A marriage built on a foundation that stretched all the way back to childhood. But after 11 years, something changed. Maybe they simply grew apart. Maybe they realized they wanted different things. Whatever the reason, they decided to end their marriage. Surprisingly, the divorce was peaceful. There was no public bitterness, no drawn-out legal battle. Trisha even declined alimony. She essentially said, "I have a good career. I don't need your money. Let's just go our separate ways and wish each other the best." That kind of grace, that kind of maturity, that's who Trisha was. After the divorce, she decided to start over. She left the Air Force and moved back to Florida with her daughter, Faith. She wanted to be close to her family. She wanted a fresh start. She became a registered nurse and moved in with her brother, Jonathan, while rebuilding her life. For the first time in years, she was creating a future entirely on her own. Then she met someone new, a man, someone completely different from Stephen, someone who made her feel alive again. She fell hard. She wrote about him constantly in her journal. For a while, she seemed genuinely happy, but buried within those journal entries were signs that something wasn't right. She described it as a painful love affair. She wrote about the incompatibility between Pisces and Scorpio. At one point she wrote, "I've never had a deep blue love affair with a true Scorpio that didn't feel this way." There were cracks beneath the surface. Trouble was already beginning to show. But Trisha was determined to make it work. September 2015. Trisha's ex-husband, Stephen, travels from his Air Force base in North Carolina to Florida to spend time with their daughter, Faith. Faith isn't feeling well. Stephen calls Trisha and asks if she can come help. She agrees. She goes to his hotel room. Eventually, Faith falls asleep. Trisha decides it's time to head home. According to Stephen, she tells him she's going home, but she never makes it. The following morning, Trisha doesn't show up for work at the hospice. She doesn't answer her phone. Her car is sitting in the driveway. Her purse is still inside. The lights in her house are on. But Trisha is nowhere to be found. It's as if she vanished into thin air. Investigators begin retracing her final known movements. Security footage shows Trisha shopping at a grocery store on the evening she disappeared. The groceries she bought are later found inside her house. A witness sees her driving away that evening. Cell phone records confirm that she went to see Stephen. Then she left. No phone calls. No cell phone signal. No trace of her anywhere. It's as though she simply disappeared.
It first came out as a missing persons, just a normal mom that didn't come home one night.
Stephen speaks with investigators. He's calm, cooperative. He tells them he wants to help find Trisha. He even agrees to take a polygraph examination. At this point, investigators have little reason to suspect him. He's a respected member of the military, an honor roll student growing up, a career serviceman with an exemplary record. By all appearances, he's a devoted father and a decent man. So investigators begin looking elsewhere. They learn about the new man in Trisha's life, the Scorpio she wrote about in her journal, the man she seemed completely captivated by. They investigate him thoroughly. For a while, they wonder if Trisha left with him. Maybe she disappeared voluntarily. Maybe she's still alive. But he cooperates fully with investigators. His alibi checks out. Eventually, he's eliminated as a suspect. So, if it wasn't him, who was responsible? The investigation continues. Detectives keep searching, keep asking questions, keep digging. Then they discover something important. Trisha's journal, page after page of private thoughts, the things she never said out loud. And within those pages, investigators find a very different picture of Stephen. She writes that he was abusive, that he killed several of her pets, not out of anger, but to frighten her, to remind her that he had power over her. She describes a man who was controlling, violent, someone capable of cruelty. Yet, he was also Faith's father. So Trisha tried to manage the situation. She tried to keep the peace. She tried to make it work for the sake of their daughter. From that moment on, investigators began looking at Stephen through a very different lens. Investigators eventually find a witness. A man who tells them he saw Stephen Williams driving Trisha's car on the night she disappeared, leaving her house. Stephen never mentioned that to police. He told investigators Trisha drove away in her own car. That was a lie. Then investigators uncover surveillance footage. Multiple cameras capture Stephen driving both Trisha's car and his own vehicle that night. Another camera near Trisha's house captures something even more disturbing. Stephen is seen moving through the shadows, dressed in military fatigues with a skull cap covering his head. Strapped to his back is a large military rucksack. He isn't walking casually. He's moving as though he doesn't want to be seen. When investigators confront him with the evidence, Stephen's story begins to unravel. He admits he was there. He admits he drove Trisha's car.
You planned this? You came down here with the intent purpose to hurt Trisha? That you planned to ditch her car here in some calculated way, and you planned to go put her in a certain place that nobody could find her and all that kind of stuff?
Stephen admits he argued with Trisha that night. He says he punched her. He claims she fell, struck her head, and died. According to him, it was a tragic accident. He says he panicked. And then he decided to dispose of her body. For 5 weeks, investigators searched. They combed canals, swamps, wildlife preserves, and remote rural areas. Divers searched the water. K9 units tracked through dense brush. Heavy machinery cleared thick vegetation. Thousands of man-hours were poured into the search. Still, they found nothing. Until Stephen finally told investigators where to look. He led them to Hungryland Wildlife and Environmental Area, to a shallow grave he had dug, just 3 feet deep, marked by nothing more than a small flag. When investigators unearthed the container and opened it, they came face to face with the horrifying reality of what Stephen Williams had done. Trisha Todd wasn't just killed. She wasn't just murdered in a crime of passion or in a moment of rage. She was dismembered. Stephen had taken power tools, a chainsaw, a reciprocating saw, and he'd cut her body into pieces. He'd removed teeth. He'd removed fingertips. He'd done everything he could think of to prevent her from being identified. He'd put her in a plastic container, filled it with acid, packed the mutilated remains inside, and buried her in an isolated grave. When investigators found the reciprocating saw, they found her hair and pieces of her remains still stuck in the blade. When they searched the canal where he'd disposed of evidence, they found the tools at the bottom of the water. The chainsaw, the saw, evidence of the violence. Tiny pieces of Trisha scattered in the gravel and shell rock, her teeth, her fingertips, evidence of what he'd done to her. This wasn't a crime of passion. This wasn't an accident followed by panic. This was calculated. This was premeditated. Before Stephen even left North Carolina to visit their daughter, he purchased acid. He packed it in his car. He brought it to Florida with him. He brought the tools. He brought the container. He brought everything he would need to dispose of a body. This was planned. This was decided before he ever arrived in Florida. The argument, if there even was one, wasn't the cause of her death. The argument was an excuse, a justification, he would tell himself. The real reason was something darker. Something in Stephen Williams that nobody saw coming. Stephen Williams accepted a plea deal, 35 years in prison in return for a full confession of what he did to Trisha and where he hid her body. The goal was simple: find her, give her a proper burial, bring closure to her family. But closure is complicated when your daughter's mother has been dismembered. When you found pieces of her scattered in a grave, when you know the violence and calculation that went into her murder. The deeply religious Todd family found it in their hearts to forgive Stephen. They sent messages to him through his mother. They said, "We forgive you." But Lieutenant Mike Dory, who investigated the case, says he would have fought for the death penalty if they'd known the full extent of what Stephen did before offering the plea. Trisha Todd was a vibrant, outgoing woman. She was the life of the party. She was a devoted mother. She was a registered nurse who cared for people because she saw something good in Stephen Williams. Or she wanted to see it. Or she believed it could be there despite evidence to the contrary. She trusted him. And that trust cost her everything.